Now, having had the opportunity to travel to Japan on many occasions, I'm quite familiar with the wood preservation technique known here in the West as Yakisugi or Shou Sugi Ban. The Shou Sugi Ban process involves charring the outside of the wood without combusting it. This makes the timber more durable, waterproof and resistant to attack by insects. This Shou Sugi Ban process has found its way into wood art and even wood turning. And even more recently, I attended a demonstration by Ben Crow of Crimson Guitars using this technique on one of his instruments. Now, don't expect to see any fantastic outcome from this video, because its purpose is to explore the use of Shou Sugi Ban with wood turning, and particularly the addition of colour to the process. Now, this is not an original idea by myself, of course. There are several good turners using charred wood techniques, including the wood artist Brosi. Now, having cut down 5 significantly sized cypress trees on my property 3 years ago, I've got a lot of wood to practice with. Now, about a year or so ago, I did rough turn a lot of bowls from this cypress wood, and I intend to use some of these during these trials. In this video, I'm going to use 2 of these rough turn bowls for a series of tests. Okay, there was a very clumsy catch there, caused by prioritising the position of the camera over the positioning of the tool. Anyway, 10 minutes later, I've recovered the piece using hot glue and super glue. Okay, from this point onwards, it's definitely trial and error, and of course one of the challenges is going to be to guess how much charring is actually required on the outside of the piece. Here I'm cleaning off the excess carbon with a suede shoe brush. I don't want to clean too much off because I want the colour to be subtle and the charring to be predominant. Now I'm going to be using the Hampshire Sheen Intrinsic colours for this test, and in particular I'm interested in seeing the effects of the honey and flame red colours. Now the honey colour turned out to be too subtle, so I'm going to move on to flame. I applied the flame wood stain neat to try and get the best depth of colour. Now once the stain is dry, I'm going to treat it with hot tung oil, as is one of the local traditions in Japan. To avoid any complaints, I'm not going to advertise how I'm heating the tung oil. So, having given the piece a good coating of tung oil, I now need to leave it overnight to cure. Now, in the cold light of the morning, I decided I wanted to try and lighten the piece a little bit because the colour wasn't showing through how I wished it to. So I took the suede shoe brush to the piece again and some abrasive paper. Finally, I gave it a cleaning with white spirit. Now this abrasive and cleaning process has caused the piece to take on a slightly iridescent appearance, which is aesthetically much nicer than it was before. Now I left some tear out on the outside of the bowl in the mistaken belief that the charring process would take care of it. Clearly it didn't. So at this stage I'm inclined to add a couple more coats of tung oil over the next day or so, clean up the rim and put some shine on the inside of the bowl and see what it looks like. Okay, so the first piece finished as it's ever going to be. Not an unpleasant outcome. I learned some very useful lessons. But I think for the next piece I'm going to take back the charring further, and hopefully this way I'll get more of the colour come through. Okay, this is the second pre-turn bowl that I'm going to use for this trial. From the lessons learned on the last piece, at this time I'm going through the abrasives on the outside of the bowl in the normal manner. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to reduce the level of charring, and I'm going to try and cut it back to reveal more of the colour. Now, even with the reduced level of charring, if you look at the piece as it's turning, you will see two significant cracks occur during the process. So, as you can see, the two cracks here have opened up significantly during the finishing off process. I don't think they can be effectively filled, so I'm just going to leave them as they are. Also, you can see that the bowl has warped significantly during the charring process. So, all is left to do then is to part this piece off. Okay, considering the cracks and other issues with this piece, it's as far as I'm going to take it. The effect, I think, is not too bad. Obviously the cracks rather destroyed it. The question is how to stop this cracking when doing the charring process. Both bits have got cracks in, but there must be a way of preventing it. I'm thinking possibly to do the charring before you turn the inside of the bowl. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Anyway, I think it would be possible to photograph both of these pieces in their best light before they go on the fire. Okay, I think to sum up that the effect of the charring and the colour is quite nice. It requires a bit more practice, but most of all, of course, got to find a way of stopping it cracking or using the cracks more effectively as part of the piece. Thanks for watching.